Let's start by talking about all of the different social media. There are a lot of different platforms. Back when I did my first training on social media, I got the rough draft totally wrong. My client was very upset. And I was like 23. I should have known about social media, but I didn't. I pretty much thought Facebook and Twitter were the only forms of social media. But even back then, there were tons and tons. And now, a good number of years later, there are even more. I mean, so many different types of social media. The good news is you don't need to be on all of the social media, and there are lots of different options that can meet your specific needs depending on what they are. I'm going to go through some of the main different types of social media, and then I'm going to talk about author-specific ones. And keep in mind, these that I've chosen are primarily English-speaking ones, so there are a bunch of social media platforms in China and India that we wouldn't necessarily use if you're an English language focus. And then there are also different types of social media, for example, for musicians, that aren't necessarily relevant to writers. So depending on what your goals are, maybe if you blend different things, maybe you are a musician and you are writing a book about music, you can do some research into some of the other platforms if that's something that you're interested in. But these are focused on general ones that a lot of different people use, and then some more niche specific ones to authors and writers. So the first one I'm obviously going to talk about is Facebook. Facebook is the biggest social media platform in the world. It has billions of people on it. It's in a bajillion different languages. It impacts society on many different levels. A lot of people hate Facebook. A lot of people love Facebook. A lot of people feel kind of stuck in the middle, like, I don't want to be on Facebook, but I feel like I have to be. And it's a thing that's part of society now. Facebook offers a few different interesting tools. When you first sign up, you start by signing up with a personal profile where you can share your own content that you want to share with your friends and family. You can connect with people by becoming friends with them. You can also follow people, even if you're not connected as friends. It enables you to see content that they post that's public, but you wouldn't be able to see the content that they post that's private. Privacy is another security feature of Facebook. Your content is not private from Facebook, but you can choose who can and can't see your content as long as you are using a personal profile. Public pages are another feature of Facebook. This is sort of like a business page. It's public. Anybody can see it. You can't block people. Although I do think in the messaging feature, if someone is being abusive, you can block them. But the public page has like a lot of different features. You can go in and look up mine if you want. It's facebook.com/ArielJSealing. And you can see there's like an about section, there's videos, there's photos, there's more information. They, in the last couple of years, have added things like open hours. So if you're like a business and you have open hours, you can put that up. Contact information is available on there. And of course, you can directly message the business. Another interesting feature of Facebook are the groups. And I mention this specifically because a lot of authors use Facebook groups as a way to connect with their specific reader group. I know a lot of authors who invite their readers to participate, and they post special private content that's specifically for their readers in their Facebook groups. Facebook also offers live videos, which is interesting. So you can just kind of go on and stream about whatever you're doing, or whatever. It's just a cool feature. And then they have a bunch of other tools that you can look into and research. The number one thing to remember about Facebook is that it is the biggest platform. There are billions of people on Facebook, and so there's a lot of potential to connect there, but their algorithm is also very restrictive and constantly changing. So what you do today might not work, 6 months from now, depending on the updates they make and the changes they make, and all kinds of things that we have no control over. The next one I'm going to talk about is Twitter. Twitter is very popular with writers because it is very text-based. although they have added video and linking and all kinds of things. Twitter is about words more than anything. I believe you are restricted to 240 characters now. It used to be 180. So whatever you post either has to be 240 characters or a thread, a series of tweets about a particular topic. Twitter is sort of a simpler platform than Facebook, I would say. You sign up with your profile, and then you have your feed, and you can follow people and they can follow you. And it's sort of a more easy to consume platform. Facebook and Twitter both have paid advertising options as well. So if you're interested in paying for marketing, both of those, you would need to have an account in order to use their paid marketing options. The next one I want to talk about is Instagram. Instagram also has paid marketing options. Instagram is image-based. So people on there post photographs of stuff. Writers in particular, I've seen done a few different ways. They might post pictures of their books or the books they're reading. That's really common. A lot of poets use it, and they'll do like screen captures of like prettily formatted poems. I've seen a lot of that. Reviews that they might post, or a lot of writers just post photos of their day-to-day life. You know, it's like, oh, this is what my work setup looks like. I went for a walk today. Here's a picture of the tree. And there's a lot of different ways that you can approach that type of content. Another one is YouTube. YouTube is interesting if you are interested in video and recording videos. YouTube users tend to be they like YouTube, and they spend a lot of time on YouTube. There are a lot of people there. There is also a search algorithm, so if you post a video, you have to upload tags and content, and that's how people find you. You can also follow creators on YouTube. So if you were to look up me on YouTube, you could follow my account, and then anytime I post a new video, you would get notified in your email or in your YouTube notifications. A lot of authors use YouTube to talk about their books, to do short readings from their work, and a lot of nonfiction authors in particular are more likely to do like little talks or segments about whatever their particular area of expertise is. MySpace, believe it or not, still exists. There aren't a ton of people on it anymore, but I just, MySpace was like the first real social media. It was around when I was in high school, and I just felt like I should throw it in there. If you're interested, you can still set up an account. You can still like code your own homepage. You can upload a photo and all kinds of content if you're interested in doing that. TikTok is really popular right now. TikTok is interesting because it's new within the last, I don't even know, couple years. But the reason I wanted to mention it's basically you make like short little videos, and they're usually funny or interesting or whatever. And I think the precursor to TikTok, maybe a different company, but people used to use Vine, if you remember, and they were like, I don't know, 5-second videos, I don't remember, or 20-second videos, I don't remember exactly how it worked. But one of the interesting things to note about social media platforms is that they come and go. So if you pick a social media platform that's newer and sort of it doesn't have like very much history, it's important to be aware that sometimes they just go away. You could have spent 3 years creating Vine content and only to have it all vanish out from under you. One of the more recent social media platforms that was deleted, it was Google Plus, just last year, I think, or the beginning of this year. 2020 is when I'm recording this, just during mid-pandemic. So it's important to remember that at any time, any of these platforms could just go away. Anyway, so TikTok, if you like making videos, you like making short videos, maybe you're funny, it might be something to explore. Tumblr is another one that's been around for a while. Tumblr is text and image based, and it's very anonymous. A lot of the people on there don't share their identities. You have no idea who they are. And they like content that is emotionally engaging, in a way. So an interesting one. A lot of writers on Tumblr as well. In fact, one of my favorite writer blogs is on Tumblr. It's called Writing with Color. And it's about writing characters and work that is diverse and respectful. Anyway, so definitely check out Tumblr if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I would also say that Tumblr has a lot more younger users on it. So if your target audience is younger, definitely something to at least look into. Reddit is another social media platform, one of the oldest, I would say. Reddit is interesting because it doesn't really have algorithms. It's only recently that they've started sort of policing their content. They've had some like basic rules, but lately they've been deleting communities that violate guidelines. They've been a little bit more restrictive. But Reddit is also anonymous. You do not have to share your identity on Reddit with anyone. And there are specific content or subject matter based communities that you participate in. People share links, they share photos, they ask questions, and then other users respond. And it is a very basic, simple platform, very text based. The one thing I will say about Reddit is that the users are very protective of their community. And if you roll in looking to throw up some marketing posts about your work, they're not going to like that. So if you want to use Reddit as a marketing tool, you first absolutely have to use it as a user and for a while, and you have to create a community and you have to get to know people and you have to give back before you try to take from it. LinkedIn is a professional social media platform. Basically, you can post your resume on there and companies are on there surfing for employees and stuff. But there are also a bunch of groups on Reddit, on LinkedIn that are focused around writing. And so if you're interested in networking with other writers, then LinkedIn is a good place to do that. You can also post content on LinkedIn. So if it's professional in nature, then you can definitely look into LinkedIn. Snapchat is another social media platform. I'm going to be honest, I never got into Snapchat, but you can take photos of yourself and share them with friends, and it's basically just like any other social media platform. It's mobile based, however. And then I also wanted to mention Pinterest. Pinterest is also image based, a little bit like Instagram, but it connects you to content. So when you pin a photo onto one of your Pinterest boards, so you create boards filled with images that you find interesting or that you like looking at, and you can pin them from anywhere on the internet. So a lot of writers create Pinterest boards for the projects that they're working on, maybe like an aesthetic or a vibe. Their readers can follow their boards if they want to, or other writers can follow each other. And then one of the things I like to do is I have a bunch of different boards, but anytime I post on my website or my blog, or I have a new book cover up somewhere, I will pin it to one of my boards so that it appears. And people pin each other's pins, and I know it probably sounds confusing if you've never used Pinterest before. But it can be really fun, and it's much more visually based than text-based or video-based. And so if you're a visual person, definitely think about Pinterest. So I also want to talk for a second about author-specific social media platforms. And I picked 4, although there are a lot more. These are some sort of for the slightly larger ones. Because they're niche-y, they're about books and they're about writing, they have fewer people on them. However, they are going to be more targeted. These are people who like writing, they like books, and they like reading. And so if you're specifically looking for readers, this is where you might want to go. So the first one is, of course, Goodreads. Goodreads is basically just a catalog of all the books ever, and you can sign up for a profile as a reader. You can follow books, you can follow authors, you can put up like the book I'm reading right now and sort of track your progress. You can create goals, you can create lists of books you want to read, you can there's lots of different features for readers. You can post reviews. There's a lot of reviews on there. I do want to give a warning about Goodreads. As a writer and an author, your books are on Goodreads, and it can be really emotionally taxing to be on Goodreads as an author with your own profile and having your own books up there. Goodreads reviewers tend to be a lot more strict and cranky, I guess, than Amazon reviewers. And so if you're on there regularly, you gotta have a thick skin, definitely. I think it's similar to Reddit in the sense that it's not really, unless you have a huge following, you don't really want to participate on Goodreads as an author as much as a reader. But it can definitely be a place to sort of get started. And it's also an excellent social media platform for research. You can learn what people are reading. You can look up different genres. I use it when I'm doing Amazon ads to pull keywords for my ads. There's a lot of things you can do with Goodreads, but it can be a difficult platform to spend very much time on as an author. The next one I want to talk about is Wattpad. So actually the next three I have listed are Wattpad, Medium, and Inkit. And all three of these are technically publishing platforms. So Wattpad, I've used some. Medium, I've used some. I haven't really used Inkit a ton, but they're all essentially the same thing. You write something and then you post what you wrote on it. Wattpad has better community features than Medium, I think, in my personal opinion. You can connect with people, you can follow people, and they can follow you. There are forums where people can discuss things like genres or writing or whatever. You read other people's work, they read yours. People can leave comments. And it's a good way to connect with other writers and potentially connect with readers. They also have things like awards, like there's the Waddy Awards that a reader can nominate you for, and then you could potentially win, and a lot of people go on there and they like to do that. But again, it's if you want to be successful on Wattpad, you got to use it regularly, and you've got to use the tools and the tricks specifically for that platform. Medium, okay, so the other thing about Wattpad is that it is really great for long works. You can post chapter by chapter by chapter and have a whole thing, as opposed to Medium, where it's more article focused. So if you write nonfiction, Medium can be a really great place to share your nonfiction. You can write articles about your area of expertise. People can follow you as a writer, as an author or creator. You can follow other people. They can give claps. They can comment. There's less, I think, one-to-one individual connection in Medium, whereas like in Wattpad you have private messaging and that type of thing. But Medium is a pretty well-respected platform in general. And then Inkit is similar to Wattpad in that you post some of the stuff, you can join writers groups and you can engage with each other, you can get critique and you can find beta readers, and you can exchange services with other writers. So these are just some of the social media platforms that exist out there. There are many, many others. If you're interested, you can do research. Just Google lists of social media platforms, and you can see what's out there and the different types of social media platforms in case there's something else that you might personally be interested in. But these are the top ones.